Hi, and thanks for joining us. This is the South China Morning Post interview with John Tsang, Chief Executive Candidate. And let me just introduce these two ladies here first as well. That's Joyce on the right, and this is Jeffy, my colleagues from the SCMP. They're the political reporters. And we've just had about 45 minutes of an interview with Mr. Tsang, John. And they've actually, let's just say they've asked all the hard questions. So let me start a little softer with you.
Nice.
First of all, your voice is not coming out very loudly because you're not feeling well, right? So it's a flu.
I've had a flu for a while, yeah.
Okay, so we appreciate you joining us. I just recovered from a flu as well, so my sympathies. But anyway, I really have to ask this to every single CE candidate, which is, given the polarization in Hong Kong society, politically and socially, you've seen the mood outside on the streets, and it's not very pretty. Given the experience that you've had all these years in government with Tung Chee-wai as Chief Executive, with Donald Tsang next, and then C.Y. Leung, this is a town there where people in the highest office are literally hounded out of town. I mean, there's so much polarization and so much extreme dislike. Why would you want to jump into that?
I asked myself that for a while. Actually, it's no different from the decision that I made back in 1982 when I came back to Hong Kong. I've been living in the U.S. for a while. Good, comfortable, middle-class family, everything very stable. But I thought at that time, with my knowledge, with my experience in the U.S., there is indeed something that I can contribute to this community where I was born. And so I decided that we should come back, brought my wife, 2 kids, came back in 1982 and been here since. And indeed, this is the place that I love a lot, and I would like to continue to contribute to the well-being of this society. And after I resigned in December, I thought long and hard, and I decided that I should make a run for that because given my personality, given my willingness to communicate with people, given my network with people from different spectrum of the society, I think I have confidence that I can rebuild the trust in people, in government particularly, trust in each other, so that we can have a more unifying society where we can bring about longer-term objectives for ourselves, for our younger generation, and give them hope for the future.
You do realize, though, that you're in for a world of pain, so to speak, right? I mean, is your family prepared for that? Have you discussed that, and what kind of pressures they'll be facing? Because you can bet your family will be brought in as well into all this.
Exactly. My family has already been brought in.
Your wife did a good job in the video.
And we have discussed that. My wife has always been very supportive, and so are my 2 children. And they've been supportive. They've encouraged me to do that, and I'm sure they are aware what possible consequences are. But I think the result, if I could achieve a bit of improvement in terms of people-to-people relations, that's worth the pain. And I don't have any false hope that everything will continue to be rosy. I always see popularity as sort of a currency that you spend on difficult issues, and you will spend that, and so that determines how you relate with the people. So we need to maintain that and get the confidence of the people, get the trust of the people, and get the support.
Let me ask you a question that you're probably not expecting. I've always wanted to ask you this because, number one, you're into martial arts a lot, right? And you write about it and you're very enthusiastic about it. And then also, you've been in government for decades, and the past 9.5 years, the top tier as a top-tier minister. So I think you have all the context to answer this question. Why is it in Hong Kong that we have roads, buildings, pathways, subways named after everyone and their mum, but never Bruce Lee? Bruce Lee. I've always wondered, is there some kind of taboo there that it's not touchable?
I don't think so. And I think naming a street, a road, an avenue after Bruce Lee would be welcomed in Hong Kong.
Decades in the government.
I would love it. I would love to see that.
If you were elected, would you do something about it?
I would
a certain new town?
I would certainly give consideration to that. He is quite a significant person. Growing up in the U.S., I know that very well. As you know, in the U.S., there's a lot of stereotype type of view of Asians in America. And with Bruce Lee, it changed a lot of that. It changed a lot of that. It goes from Fu Manchu.
Yes.
It goes from
all the racist stereotypes. I mean, he's a guy who actually gave the Asian face, the Asian person respect.
It gave Asians manhood.
Yes.
And that's something that has never happened
So where are
in
the
America.
names? Where are the roads being named, buildings being named?
And I think that we need to work harder on that and really consider that.
But speaking of stereotype, maybe insults, did you ever have any unpleasant experience in the U.S. yourself, personally?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
of course. I
Tell
lived
us
in the
more.
U.S. almost 20 years. Had many fights in the street because of these insults.
You're
What
a roller.
was
I
the worst?
was,
What was the
win
worst
some and
experience?
lose some. Can't win them all.
When you, expanding on this, when you're in LegCo and you have, some of our radical lawmakers chucking stuff at you, wagging their fingers at you, almost threatening. Do you ever feel the urge to just step outside?
No, there's no need. I mean, they are just gesturing. I mean, one-on-one, I'm very confident. I can take on anybody. Anyone.
All right. We're hearing from the man himself. For those of you who've just joined us, we're with former Financial Secretary John Tsang.
John Tsang, right.
Somebody
John,
punish me.
remember that, John.
Recognizable by the mustache. So this symbol here, right? That's supposed to be a mustache.
Two mountains. This is the two
mountains to climb.
The two Lion Rock represent the spirit of Hong Kong.
It's also your mustache, isn't it?
People may think so, and people also think that if I were to win, I'll put the eyes on.
I've always been curious about your. We're not asking you to snitch on your former boss or bad mouth him and things of that sort. But I've always been curious, man to man, working with C.Y. Leung. What's your opinion of him?
We've always have a good professional relationship.
Is that all you want to say then?
I mean, I don't think it would be proper for someone to. It's not in my nature to say bad things about people, but we did have a professional relationship.
If you're not running for CE, who would you vote for? The remaining field, candidates in the remaining field.
I don't have a vote.
If you are not, you're not the EC. Oh, let's just remind everyone that we don't have. Number one is we don't have one man, one vote, so we can't go ahead with that.
Right.
You're not a member of the EC as well.
No.
If you had a choice, if that one man, one vote had happened.
That would be very hypothetical, wouldn't it?
But it's a
It
good hypothetical.
would depend which sector I'm in and what the sector wishes entail.
Suppose you're in the finance sector.
Hypothetical again.
It's not hypothetical.
It
You've
is
been in the
hypothetical.
finance sector.
But I'm not an EC member.
Let's try to understand John Tsang, the man behind the mustache, a little bit. You're into superheroes, right? You like Marvel comics.
I've been reading that since I was a kid.
What's your favorite character?
Silver Surfer.
Silver Surfer. Why? Why?
He is a contradictory type of character. I mean, you cannot say that he is like Superman, totally good guy. I mean, there's a lot of conflicts within him. I like that sort of person. I still own the first edition of Silver Surfer.
That must be quite worth.
They should worth, and I'm keeping that.
You know, Silver Surfer, since you picked him, the Silver Surfer is a guy who is a superhero with superhero powers on Earth, but he can never break free of Galactus' hold, right? Galactus is always on top there and controlling him.
Good man.
Is that how you feel with Siwa Leung? Galactus.
You know, everyone, even superheroes, they have their limitations, and I think we don't want to make superheroes someone who is, you know, totally powerful, can do anything. So a superhero with limitations is realistic, and I think this is something, a lot of good human characters that are very important for any leader in Hong Kong.
How about that yearning to break free? You got that as well? Do you share that as well?
All human beings do want to have that. You all want to achieve something even greater than you can achieve.
You know, you have been perceived as the lesser of two evils. So are you evil? Are you,
No,
are you at least lesser evil?
I don't think I'm evil at all.
Why so?
I'm not.
But you're an angel.
Just look at me. I'm not evil at all.
He's a superhero. Good guy. Do you seriously think that you have a chance to win this election?
I mean, I don't think anybody would enter an election hoping that they don't win.
It seems to me your strategy is, because you're not, you know, the officially preferred candidate per se compared to Carrie Lam. Seems to me your strategy is that let me do the nominations first. Let me just get into the race first. Then when it comes to the actual voting in March, I think you're depending a lot on the pandemic camp to do secret ballots or whatever it is, or people who officially are supporting Carrie Lam because they are required to as a voting bloc. But when the actual voting comes and it's by secret ballot, you're depending a lot of people to do rogue votes? Actually,
I'm depending on the support of the Hong Kong people. I think that speaks a lot, that speaks volumes. That's one of the reasons we did the crowdfunding exercise. It's not just for the money, I need the money, but also it gives people the sense of participation. They're contributing to something that they believe in. We have over 23,000 contributors, and many of them send in very touching comments, and probably at some stage we may even show some of that. It's very encouraging. I mean, and that's where I derive my strength. Every day, looking at the comments, looking at different things, give me that strength to move on. Are you getting your donations from individuals on the street as opposed to corporations or established blocks? I'm seeking both. We need up to $15 million from the crowdfunding exercise. We're getting about 4 to 5 million, and we still need more. An exercise like this requires a lot of funding, and we've been okay so far. Jenny was just showing me that. Jenny, that's Carrie Lam's.
So here's we got a booklet of Carrie Lam, your key rival, and on the first page she says, "I love working on weekend." So we would like to know, do you like working on weekend? I like spending weekends with my family.
I go fencing on weekends. I like to go out with my wife. Well, we usually do that in the morning, but I still leave a little time to do a little work here and there. But I mainly try to get a break from the sort of the daily routine. Every day is already a very long day. I usually start at about 6 and probably don't end if there were no dinners and so forth. It doesn't end until like 8 or 9 o'clock. So already very long days. You do need a rest, and you do need some quality time with your family and so forth, and do things that you enjoy.
Do you work in small hours past midnight?
I try not to, but sometimes you do. But I like working in the morning. That's why I get up early and do a lot of things in the morning. But weekends, I like to see my grandchildren and so forth and spend time with them.
You mentioned earlier that when you're talking about yourself, you mentioned the middle class. Do you still consider yourself part of the middle class?
My lifestyle is certainly middle class.
But middle class is very, I mean, there must be
It's not just the income.
highs and lows of middle class.
It's
right?
not just income. It's how you live in Hong Kong in different ways. I think the middle class way is quite a pleasant way to live.
John, you know, being the CE is not just looking after Hong Kong now. As you can see, you know, we have international incidents. You know, the Singaporean armored vehicles. We have issues with Taiwan, people being allowed in here, people not being allowed out there. I mean, there is an international element involved, and the international element immediately brings in Beijing. I mean, you're going to have to be working with Beijing. It's a different world now.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to cope with that? I mean, the fact that you may not necessarily be the person that Beijing prefers, but if you were to win the election, I mean, I can see where you're heading. You're thinking of it has to be acceptable because popularity was one of the criteria, or key criteria for that. If you do win the election, I mean, the decision has been made. It would be very awkward for Beijing to roll that back. But that would require you to be on a whole new level with Beijing in terms of your interaction, right?
No, I think it's very clear we need, whatever we do in Hong Kong needs to comply with the laws of Hong Kong. And we can just strictly follow that. And that is something that is transparent and predictable. And we need to continue that. And of course there is the basic law. If they were indeed foreign relations, this is in the remit outside of Hong Kong. And so we need to work together to ensure that that happens. I've always have good relations with people in the Foreign Office, and I have no doubt that that will continue.
Okay. We're getting really serious now, so let's play a little game. How about we throw some words at you, and you quickly give us a one-word answer or two-word answer.
One of these psychological things.
Yeah, something like that.
You've
Shall
got
we start?
reaction.
I'm not good at that style.
Let's just give it a shot.
Okay.
Since you're willing you're willing to accept any challenge, right? Silver Surfer, so. Okay.
Did
so
that surprise you?
yeah, the superhero thing really did. Okay. I know the martial arts thing, I know all about that, but which is why I wanted to ask you about Bruce Lee, but superheroes. I'm impressed. Pity I can't vote for you. Anyway, shall we start then? Okay.
Yeah, sure.
You guys throw in the words as well if you like. Okay, let me start.
Mm-hmm.
Carrie Lam.
Regina Yip,
It's okay, go on.
Regina Yip.
Carrie Lam.
I think
Are they
that's
the same?
The
Are
first
they the
word
same
that
type?
comes to your mind, right?
Yes.
Okay. Justice Wu.
Wow, that's a harder one. I never thought about that. Justice Wu,
You haven't thought about him.
Alan Leung,
Handshake.
Hugs,
CY Leung?
CH Tong.
Your mind works in weird ways.
I was thinking you were throwing some adjectives. Not
But,
How about some
but you're not throwing adjectives at me.
because we throw in nouns and suppose you're
throwing
yeah.
adjectives.
That's what I thought I should do. I mean,
How about TSA?
TSA. You want an adjective for that?
Just whatever comes to your mind
Yeah, the
first.
first thing.
Intolerable.
Occupy Central.
Demonstration.
Article 23.
Article 23. These are difficult ones.
Budget forecast.
Hmm?
Budget forecast.
Budget forecast. I don't even know
Too many words coming up.
I don't even know how to relate to that.
So, Beijing.
Beijing, Washington D.C.
Then liaison office.
Liaison office, ETO.
I think we picked the wrong man for this.
Just one more. Xi Jinping.
Xi Jinping, Obama.
Why so?
Why not Trump?
Obama has left.
Trump is no Xi Jinping.
All right, I think, thanks very much. I think it's time to wrap up now. Thanks for joining us. This was our Facebook Live interview with John Tsang, the Chief Executive Candidate and former Financial Secretary. And thanks very much for joining us. I was particularly interested in your comments on Bruce Lee and the Silver Surfer, and wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.